So earlier, due to the pandemic, all the exams were postponed by the government and state universities. Though UGC-NET has not yet released the UGC-NET examination for December 2020 cycle, many state universities have released their exams. A few days ago, Government of Gujarat has released the notification for GSET examination. If you have not filled the form of Gujarat State Eligibility Test, then do it before 21st of July. Now talking about Maharashtra State examination, you have only 100 days left behind. The examination is going to be held in the month of September, and 10 days before the examination, admit cards will be released. And now, as you know that you have 100 days left behind to prepare for this examination, if you start preparing from now, and if you do important topics and writers, you are surely going to be able to crack this examination soon. So in this video, we are going to analyze some of the previous year question papers and important topics from Maharashtra State examination point of view. We are also going to look at the weightage or the most important subjects that is going to ask from you in this examination. So before beginning this video, if you are someone who believes in smart work rather than hard work, or if you are someone who does not want to waste his hours and hours of time in writing down the notes, then you can simply check our study material on English literature on our website. Check the link in the description below to know more about this study material. And now, without any further delay, let's begin this topic. So in this video, we are only going to talk about paper 2, which is of English literature. Though I don't want to discourage you, but if you check the previous year examinations, then you will find paper 1 was somewhat difficult. The questions that have been asked from the topics like research methodology, teaching aptitude, higher educations were a little difficult. I encourage you to prepare research methodology as well as higher education along with the subject English literature in these 100 days. Do not skip these two subjects at any cost. Now don't ask me from where to prepare research methodology or higher education. You can simply search on the YouTube for these two subjects. There are hundreds and thousands of lectures are available on YouTube for free. Simply type the keywords research methodology paper 1 for UGC-NET examination and you will find hundreds of videos on YouTube for free. Although I cannot help you in paper 1, but I can surely help you in paper 2 English literature. And to do so, let's examine the previous 3 to 4 years question paper. So around 40 questions you will find from British literature. In this particular subject English literature, you will find questions from drama, novel, poetry and non-fiction prose. You have to cover all these 4 subtopics in order to prepare for your British literature. You will find around 40 to 45 questions in Maharashtra State Eligibility Test. So if you are not preparing British literature to the depth, then the chances for you to crack this examination is so much less. Do not forget the poetry section. It seems Maharashtra State Eligibility Test loves to put questions from British poetry. You will find around 5 to 7 questions from romantic poetry alone. The questions will be from these 6 to 7 writers such as William Wordsworth, S.T. Coleridge, P.V. Shelley, Lord Byron, John Keats or Walter Scott. In fact, in the previous year question paper, there was a question from Lady of the Lake poem by Walter Scott. So you need to prepare your romantic poets to the depth. Also, do not forget to prepare John Donne. In 2018, there was a question from John Donne. In 2019 and in 2020, there were questions from John Donne. In fact, last year there were 2 questions from John Donne. One question was from his poem The Flea and other question from his combined works. Talking about drama, Shakespeare is important. Every year they are asking you some quotation from Shakespeare. Do not forget to prepare the tragedies Hamlet, Othello, King Lear and Macbeth. These 4 tragedies are important. In fact, last year there was a question from Hamlet and before that there was a question from I think Macbeth. If you listen to me, prepare your British literature to the core. Do not skip anything in British literature. 40 questions are not less. And even if you pick 25 questions right out of these 40 questions, you have good chances for you to crack this examination. Also, if you are someone who is preparing for this examination from last 6 months or 1 year, then it will not be difficult for you to crack the examination. The level of English literature is somewhat lesser than as compared to UGC-NET. But again, focus on your paper 1. Paper 1 was as difficult as compared to UGC-NET examination. So moving forward, let's talk about literary criticism, where 8 to 10 questions have been put forward in your examination. In order to prepare your literary criticism, what you can do is, you can simply watch out my previous video on literary criticism. It's around 25-minute video and it will give you a whole outline of literary criticism. You can make your notes from that particular video and try to go in depth on the topics that I have discussed in that video. That video is a basic one and give you an outline of literary criticism. You can check check the link in the description below to know more about that video. Moving forward, in UGC-NET examination, Indian literature has no value. Around 2 to 3 questions has been put forward from Indian literature in UGC-NET examination. But when we talk about state examination or TGT-PGT or lecture examinations, the value of Indian literature increases drastically. Although there were 1 or 2 questions from Maharashtra SET examination in 2018 and 2019 from Indian literature. But last year, the value of Indian literature was increased by Maharashtra SET examination. There were around 6 to 8 questions from Indian literature in the last year. The good news is, all the questions that have been asked from Indian literature were the basic ones. So do not skip the important writers like R.K. Narayan, Anita Desai, Kiran Desai, Mulk Raj Anand, Raja Rao, etc. In fact, there were 2 questions from Mulk Raj Anand, 1 question from the novel Untouchable, and another question was from The Big Heart. The question was something like, the character Janaki appeared in which novel by Mulk Raj Anand? The answer to that question was The Big Heart. And now I will give you a 100 days roadmap in order to prepare for Maharashtra SET examination. What you have to do is you have to start with British literature. After British literature, you have to start literary criticism and literary theory. Yes, I have not talked about literary theory, but literary theory is also important from Maharashtra SET point of view. You don't have to get into the depth of literary theory. For instance, 3 to 4 years of previous year questions is saying you that they are not going to ask anything in detail from literary theory. They are only going to ask you some works and some particular thoughts associated with some theorists. For instance, remember the terms like bricolage or binary opposition by Claude Lévi-Strauss, an anxiety of influence by Harold Bloom, horizon of expectation by Hans Robert Jooss, deconstruction by Derrida, death of the author by Roland Barthes, Cora and intertextuality by Julia Kristeva, so on and so forth. If you have our study material, you can simply check out the important writers, important works and important terms which are associated with particular theorists. You don't have to go in the depth of the literary theory, only just have to remember the concepts and the people associated with those concepts. So British literature, literary criticism, literary theory. After these 3 subjects, you have to move on to Indian literature. And side by side, you have to prepare your research methodology and higher education. These 6 subjects will do the work for you. If you go with important writers and their works, it will do a magic for you in this examination. So with this, we come to the end of this video. If you found the video worth your time, then don't forget to subscribe the channel. That's it for this video. Thank you.